Welcome to Live Life with Sean. I'm your host, Sean Higgins. I'm a lifelong information security technology expert with a passion for speaking, coaching, and writing. In this podcast, I'm going to introduce you to a question, and then I'm going to talk through how I dealt with that question, what the question means to me, the struggles, my successes, my processes. And at the end of every episode, I will offer you a tool to help you work through what might be coming up for you. This show is recorded live, and you are invited to add your questions to this discussion. If I do not get your questions during the show, I will do my best to answer them on my blog. If you enjoy this content, please share it, subscribe to it, like it, and/or leave a comment, as this will help others find this podcast. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for joining me on this first episode of Live Life with Sean. And this week, the question I'm going to look at is, what is Live Life with Sean? I mean, why am I doing this? And, what is driving me to get there? And before I get to the question, what I'd like to do is to give you a little background on myself. As I said in the introduction, I've been in information security for a long time. I don't want to tell how long because then it makes me feel old. But I've been in information security for a long time. And one thing that I've learned over all those years of being in information security is I just love to help people. I am very good at fixing people's technology problems. And I think that's partly because I enjoy helping people. And about 10 years ago, I decided that, okay, I really enjoy helping people, but how can I help them more? So about 10 years ago, I decided to get involved in coaching. I took a couple of coaching courses. One of them was more of a traditional type of coaching course, and the other one was more dealing with energy, which really surprised me because I learned about this course by listening to a podcast and said, wow, I really like the way the host is talking about dealing with energy. And I said to myself, if he ever teaches that class, I guess I'm going to have to take it. And he said, oh, we're going to big announcement, on a show coming up. And I said, okay, I'll listen to it. And I didn't get to it till the weekend. And I'm listening to this show. And at the end of the show, he says, okay, here's the big announcement. I'm going to teach everybody how to read energy like I read energy. And I said, great. Just what I wanted. And he told the price, and I said, oh my God, it's a lot of money. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But I kicked myself and I said, you know what? I really wanted to do this. And I signed up for the course as soon as I could. And that course kicked off with a trip to Denver. And it was pretty exciting. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know who I was going to meet. I didn't know anybody I was going to meet with. And the energy was really exciting. When the instructor got up on stage, I was all excited. I'm listening to him talk, saying, oh, this is great information, good stuff, taking lots of notes. All of a sudden he says, okay, put your pencils down. I want you to turn to the person next to you and read their energy. And he gave us 4 minutes, okay? In those 4 minutes, I said 4 words and laughed for the next 3 minutes and 55 seconds. I just, didn't know what to do. Had no idea. And I froze. And thank God that was the last thing we did on a Friday night. And Saturday morning, I'm like, oh, am I really going to go back into this or not? So I did decidedly pick myself up and drag myself into the class for Saturday morning, sat way in the back. And, he went through a bunch of stuff again. And it's okay. Partner up with somebody different, somebody you don't know. And this time, what we do is clean their aura. And, I had known enough about energy at that time that, I had felt somebody's aura because somebody had said, hey, you can feel somebody's aura. And if you go up, you can actually feel the aura. It's their outside energy. It's the energy that surrounds them. Okay. And he said, okay, now go and clean the aura. And I said, okay, I know what an aura is. I can feel this aura. I felt like I was cleaning glass. Okay. And I said, maybe I can do this, just maybe. And it just kind of went around and he said, okay, step back. Now, what I'd like you to do is any energy you left on that person's aura, I want you to take it back. And I looked, and what happens when you clean glass? Almost all the time. What do you get? Streaks. I saw streaks. And I pulled them back, and I was hooked. After that, I just dove in head first through not only through that weekend, but through the rest of that program. I mean, we were reading the layers of the aura and the colors of the aura, and you're supposed to see a certain color at a certain layer. And I remember reading this one woman, and I got to this one layer, and instead of a color, I saw a pumpkin. I have no idea how I got to a pumpkin, but I just kept talking about it because I had dove in head first and just started talking about it. And when I saw the pumpkin turn around, it had a big smile on it, and what I got was how that person communicated and connected with people. And I'm just reading this and just saying whatever is just coming to my mind. And at the end of it, she goes, wow, that was amazing. And I said, okay, I can do this. And for the rest of the course, I just jumped in and I did it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've taken that with the first coaching course. And when I coach people, I use a combination of what you would call traditional coaching, as well as energy reading, to just kind of combine the two to really help people with where they're at right now. And I really enjoy that. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy writing. I'm an author as well. Wrote my first book. It's on Amazon, Living Your Purposeful Life. And, it's a self-published book, and it always amazes me with the comments that I get from people about the book. I mean, it was just a couple weeks ago, somebody wrote me and says, can you send me another signed copy of your book? I gave it to a friend of mine because he needed it, and he lost it. So I sent him another copy, and, he thanked me for it. And, he was very appreciative of that. So I do this stuff to help people because I really enjoy helping people. And I'm hoping that by talking about what I'm going through in my life, that it will help somebody out there. And feel free, I'm going to record this show live every other Thursday, to inject your questions into the show, and then I will try and answer them as I go along. And if I don't get to them, I'll put them in my blog later this week, or probably next week, because we're almost at the end of this week. So back to the question, what is live life? And, I've got to go back a few years, because about 4 years ago, my father passed away. And I remember, about a month or so after he passed away, that I was talking to a friend of mine. And I said, you know what? I'm just angry today. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm just angry. And she goes, she's energy reader as well. She kind of sits back, thinks for a bit, and then she says, okay, who do you think this anger is directed at? Who? And as I'm sitting there thinking, and what I've learned about when sitting and being with energy, almost always the first answer you get is the right answer. And the first answer I got was my father. And, as I said my father, it kind of started making sense because, hey, it's grief. You don't know what you're going to go through, how you're going to get through it, or whatever, or when it's going to hit you. But I said, my father. And then she said, and why do you think you're angry at him? And it took me a little while there because I sat back and I said, and I'm kind of like, why would I be angry at him? He's not here anymore. Maybe that's it. And, I really couldn't put a finger on it. And then all of a sudden, it stuck to me that I was making him proud of the things that I was doing in my life. And, it's interesting because when you're little, it's easy to say, yeah, I want to make my parents proud. I want to make my parents proud about what I do and impress them and make them happy about the things that I'm doing. But here I am, I'm married. I have my own daughter who is, just finished up university. And here I was, or at the time, my daughter was just starting university. And here I was saying, man, am I still living my life to make my father proud? And as I sat with that, some of the anger started to dissipate. I realized that I was angry at my father because he was no longer around for me to make him proud. And whew, it was just a interesting revelation. So I breathed with that for a moment and I sat there and, my friend said to me, she goes, I know you like to write. Why don't you sit down, okay? Sit down and see if there's a message in this anger for you, okay? Maybe you can connect with your father or whatever it is. Just sit down and write and see what happens. And I write a lot. I write almost every day, and I just sit down and write whatever wants to come through me. And when I am really connected to what I want to write, it just flows. It is a magical experience for me. It doesn't happen all the time. I wish it did all the time because then I'd have tons of books written already. But when I really do sit down and write, it just flows. When I'm really clear. And that's one of the reasons I ask questions is the best writings I get is when I sit down and a question either has been brewing or just pops into my head. And that's the first thing I write on the page. This time I sat down, my normal place, Starbucks, okay? I sat down, had my chai, and I took a couple deep breaths and I sat there and I, set the intention that I wanted to connect with my father and see if there was anything that needed to be said. And when I started writing, the first thing that I did was I made it clear that was not holding him responsible for any of my actions. Okay. I wrote that I know that, you may have influenced me and that I may have picked up some of your habits along the way, but I do not blame you. I take full responsibility for my life and I always try to. Not that I'm perfect, but, especially with my father, I know that he did the best that he could and I made the choices to pick up certain things. Yeah, he influenced me a lot. But there was no blame there. And after I said that, I felt like I could say, okay, I had just dropped everything and I could now write some questions and see what came out of those questions. And, we had it felt like I was writing a question and he was coming through me for the answer. And at one point in that process, I said, what advice do you have for me? And he gave me two words. live life. He said, live the life that you came here to live. Live life because you want to live life. Stop caring what people think and live life. And I really had to breathe into those words to just really let them sink into me. Because what I got from him was that live life was more about the journey of life than about the destination or a goal or achieving something. It was about just that journey, keeping going, moving forward. It's not always going to be good or bad or happy or sad, but it's the journey, and just keep living it. And I think the other part of it is live in the moment of it. Just be in the moment. Live for today. Don't live for tomorrow because it hasn't come. And don't live for the past because that's gone. Just live for the moment. And yeah, I'd like to say that I have lived life all the time, but that would be a lie. And I struggle with it. And, part of it is that the baggage that I picked up along the way, the habits and stuff that we'll hopefully talk about on future shows, there's stuff that I picked up that has prevented me from living life all the time. And that's why I continually try to move myself forward, to try and grow a little bit and keep moving forward. And I try and live life. So I'm hoping that with this podcast, I can share some of those challenges that I've come up against. And, I've got lots of journals that I've written about, and I'm going to go back through some of them and take a look at some of those really deep questions, especially the ones that took me 2 or 3 days to get through, and then share that with you so that hopefully somewhere along the way that some of this will help you. So hopefully that's been good for you. Let me just get a little drink of water here. And I will do my best to bring forward, something that will hopefully tweak you to help you move forward. So what I'd like to do here is I'd like to kind of circle in on the show here, and I'd like to walk you through a little bit of a meditation tonight to hopefully connect you with what does live life mean to you. I think that for me, live life at a core is helping people. Okay. But what does live life mean to you? I mean, it may not mean that. It may mean something totally different, And so what I'd like to do is to walk you through something to maybe help start you down that path to live life. And let's see where it goes. So I'd like you to just settle into your chair. And if you're driving, I'm sorry about that. Please don't close your eyes, but try and participate as much as you can. Or put this on pause and pick it up later on. That's fine too. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Start to gather your attention. Start to feel yourself seated in your chair. Have your feet flat on the ground and let your palms start to rest in your lap. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. Take a deep breath in. And as you let this one out, gently close your eyes. I'd like you to start to draw your attention to the center of your head. Okay? Just imagine you're bringing your attention to the center of your head. Now, any thoughts, worries, concerns you have about what's going to happen later today, later this week, into the weekend? Just let go of those thoughts and gently pull your attention back. Great. Keep breathing. Now, any thoughts, worries, concerns about what happened in the past, earlier today, earlier in the week, whatever? Just gently let go of those thoughts and pull your attention back to be in the center of your head right here, right now. Great. Keep breathing. Great. Good job. If your mind tends to wander, like it will, it's okay. Mine does too. Yours will. Just thank your mind for that thought and drop it. And you can pick it up later and just pull your attention back to the center of your head. Just as easily and effortlessly as that. Take a deep breath in. Let it out. Now I'd like you to focus your attention to the base of your spine right now. This is where your root chakra is. I'd like you to imagine a grounding cord connected to the base of your spine at your root chakra. It's about wide or wider than your hips. And allow this connection to go all the way down to the center of the earth. You can imagine it like a tree trunk extending its roots, waterfall gently falling. Whatever it is, just imagine that connection between you and the center of the earth. Make sure it's a firm connection, both at your hips and down at the center of the earth. And then start to feel the gentle pull of Mother Earth on your body. Good job. Keep breathing. Great. Pull your attention back to the center of your head. Breathe. Great. Good job. Now let's go to the back of this room in the center of your head, and there's an elevator. Yeah, everybody's got an elevator. And we're going to get in this elevator, and we're going to go all the way down to your heart center. Okay? The elevator doors are going to open. You're going to walk out into a hall. And just notice what this hall looks like. What's the color? What's the shape? You're going to walk down the hall. It's a little ways, for about 10, 15 feet. I don't know. You're walking down the hall. You're going to come to a door. This is the doorway into your heart center. This is the place for you and you alone. Okay? I'm going to guide you in here from outside. But all the information in here is for you alone. So notice what the door looks like. Reach forward, open the door, step through, close the door behind you. Look around the room, notice what it looks like for you. And what you'll notice in the center of the room is a column of light. So make your way to the center of the room. Stand in this column of light. And I'd like you to ask the question, what does live life mean to me? And just breathe. Okay? Keep breathing. You may get an answer right now, you may not. That's okay. Whatever it is right for you. The answer may come later, but just breathe. Maybe you get a feeling. Maybe you get a picture. Just Just breathe, wait. Keep breathing. If other questions come to mind, ask those as well. Get as much information as you can. Good job. Good job. Keep breathing. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Step out of that column of light. Back to the door. Turn and face the column of light. And thank it for the information you received. Turn around, open that door, step outside, close the door behind you. Make your way down that hallway, back to the elevator. And let's take that elevator back up to the center of your head. There you go. Get back into the center of your head. Breathe. Breathe. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Take another deep breath in. As you let this one go, gently open your eyes. Start to feel yourself coming back into your chair. Keep breathing. Start to feel yourself back in your room. Just keep breathing. Good job. Now you may want to sit here for a moment and keep breathing with that information you received. It's okay, just keep breathing with it. You may want to get yourself out a piece of paper, open a Word document, and just basically maybe write down about your experience. Help you remember it, you know. Maybe you have to do this over the next couple of days because maybe more information will come. Maybe it will start forming a path for you. Thank you for joining me today on Live Life with Sean. If you'd like to book a coaching session with me, or you want me to speak at your next event, please find the Connect with Sean link on my website at seanchiggins.com. If you've enjoyed this show, please share it, subscribe it, like it, or leave a comment, as that will help others find this podcast. And I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. And that in 2 weeks, we're going to talk about what do you need to let go of. So think about that, and then I'll talk about next in 2 weeks what I need to let go of, and things that I've done to try and let go. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.